There is a secret that past generations have guarded as their most precious treasure, something so powerful it can determine who will be protected and who will be left helpless in the days to come. Have you felt that the world is changing? That a different energy hovers over us? This is not paranoia, but spiritual intuition. Your soul recognizes the signs because it remembers ancient promises, prophecies whispered by saints, and visions granted by Our Lady to the chosen throughout the centuries. If you have come this far, it was no accident. Your soul has recognized something sacred in these words. Declare with faith a word that represents what your heart is feeling at this moment. This word will become part of a powerful spiritual chain connecting all of us. What you are about to discover is not just knowledge, it is the key to your spiritual protection. For centuries, the Virgin Mary has appeared in different places around the world, always with the same urgent message: her children need to prepare. Places such as Fatima, Lourdes, Medjugorje, and Aparecida were sites of these appearances. Each was a warning, a desperate call from a mother who sees danger approaching her children. Mary does not appear to frighten but to save, not to condemn but to protect. Now, more than ever, her protection is essential. Did you know that there is a specific number of souls who will be fully safeguarded from what is coming? Sacred texts, saints' visions, and private revelations speak always of the same proportion. Only a small part will be truly protected. This is not divine cruelty, but spiritual reality. Mary's protection is not automatic. It must be sought, deserved, and earned through sincere and deep devotion. Your life may be at stake, and you might not even realize it. This is not just about physical death, but spiritual death, divine abandonment, being left to one's own fate when the storms arrive. Mary knows what is coming because she is closest to the heart of Jesus. She hears divine plans, knows the times and seasons, which is why her appearances are always accompanied by urgency, penitence, praying the Rosary, and consecration to her Immaculate Heart. These are not mere suggestions, but spiritual survival instructions. Time is running out quickly, and every day without true consecration is a lost day in the race for protection. You do not want to be caught unprepared when the time comes, or be among those who say, "If I had known, I would have prepared." The knowledge has reached you now, and the responsibility is yours. There is a pivotal date that will change everything, a specific moment in the divine calendar that will definitively separate the protected from the abandoned. You may sense that something is approaching, a spiritual tension in the air, a premonition your soul cannot ignore. This is not coincidence, but the urgent call of someone who loves you more than any human could. The Virgin Mary, Mother of humanity, is desperate to protect her children from what she foresees. Pause now and feel your heart. It beats differently, doesn't it? That is your soul's recognition. Write in the comments the first word of faith that comes to your mind. Do not think, just feel and write. That word is no coincidence, it is your soul speaking. August 20th holds an extraordinary spiritual force, a convergence of divine energies that happens only once a generation. It is when Mary's protective mantle extends over those truly consecrated to her, drawing the definitive line between the protected and the spiritually ignorant. This is not a random date, but a prophetic moment, a divine kairos that will determine eternal destinies. Throughout history, the Virgin's appearances have always pointed to specific moments, sacred dates when heaven would intervene on earth. At Fatima, she spoke of the punishment that would come if humanity did not convert. At Medjugorje, she warned of 3 secrets that would change the world. Each appearance was a countdown, a loving warning from a mother who sees danger approaching her children and does everything to save them. You can no longer pretend you do not know. Knowledge brings responsibility, and responsibility demands action. Those who ignore heavenly calls do so not out of ignorance, but by choice. Choices have eternal consequences. Mary's protection is not an automatic right. It must be sought and won through true and complete surrender. The number of those protected is limited, not by divine cruelty, but by spiritual reality. Not everyone is willing to pay the price of true devotion. Not all want to give up pride, vanity, and worldly pleasures to fully embrace Mary's maternal care. Therefore, only a small percentage will be really shielded when the storm comes. Your decision today will determine which side you will be on that day. There is no middle ground, no neutral zone. You are either under the protective mantle of the Virgin Mary or left to your own fate. Believe me, you do not want to be left to your own fate when heaven begins to act on earth. There are hidden secrets in Marian apparitions that the Church has never fully revealed. These messages consistently urge conversion, prayer, penitence, and consecration to Mary's Immaculate Heart as the way to spiritual salvation and protection. The Virgin Mary's many appearances continue to call humanity to prepare, repent, and trust in her motherly care, for the times ahead will test the faith and devotion of all souls. Your heartfelt response to this call is crucial. Truths so impactful they could radically change the life of anyone who knew them. Have you ever wondered why certain parts of the Fatima secrets were never fully disclosed? Why the messages of Medjugorje cause so much debate? The answer is simple. These revelations contain specific instructions for protection that, if followed, provide a practically impenetrable spiritual shield. You are not here by chance. Among millions of voices, something divine brought you to this message. Share in the comments a word of faith that represents your connection with the sacred at this moment. Together we will create a collective prayer that will rise straight to heaven. Sister Lucia of Fatima, before she died, left private letters for specific people. In those letters, she revealed details that never appeared in official documents. She spoke of a special consecration, of particular phrases to be pronounced, of dates that would have unique spiritual power. This information reached only a few chosen ones, people considered trustworthy to preserve and transmit the most sacred knowledge. What you do not know is that there is a specific way to consecrate yourself to the Virgin Mary that awakens supernatural protection. It is not the common consecration many have heard about. It is something deeper, more complete, involving not only words, but a total surrender of life, fears, dreams, and future. It is a consecration that Mary personally taught to visionaries, whispering in their ears the exact expressions that open the doors of her Immaculate Heart. When you make this true consecration, something shifts instantly in the spiritual dimension. Angels are assigned specifically for your protection. Demons lose the power to come near. Dangerous situations are diverted from your path before you even notice. It is as if an invisible shield forms around you, a protection that repels spiritual and physical harm. But here is the deeper secret. This protection is not perpetual unless you keep it active. It must be renewed regularly through specific practices, particular prayers, and attitudes that demonstrate total fidelity to the Queen of Heaven. Many consecrate themselves once and assume it is settled forever. That is a grave mistake. Consecration is a living, dynamic relationship that needs to be nourished daily. The saints who experienced this special protection described a supernatural peace that flooded their hearts, an absolute certainty that nothing could touch them. Louis de Montfort spoke of a loving slavery to the Virgin that freed them from fear. Therese felt like a small child in the arms of the Heavenly Mother, completely safe and guarded. You can experience this same protection, but you must be willing to pay the price. And the price is your entire life, without reservations, without conditions, without half measures. Mary does not protect partially. Either you are entirely hers, or you are not. There is an ancient prophecy preserved in the most guarded manuscripts that speaks directly about our days. Words written long ago that describe with striking precision the moment we are living. These are not merely human predictions, but revelations from heaven about the time when humanity would be tested more intensely than ever. At the center of this prophecy stands Mary, the woman clothed with the sun, crushing the serpent's head. If you have come this far, it was not by chance. Your soul recognized something sacred in these words. Leave in the comments a word of faith that represents what your heart is feeling at this moment. This word will become part of a powerful spiritual chain that will connect all of us. What few realize is that we are living the very days Our Lady of Fatima described when she warned of chastisement upon the world. It is not a distant future. It is now. Wars, confusion in the church, loss of faith, and the corruption of morals. All of this was foretold with compelling clarity. But the remedy was also presented: devotion to the Immaculate Heart of Mary and a complete consecration that heaven asked for. You are living prophecy in real time, and your soul senses it. That is why you feel this restlessness, this spiritual urgency you cannot explain. It is the prophetic call echoing within you. It is Mary calling in your heart. Child, come under my mantle before it is too late. She sees what is coming and longs to save every soul that desires to be saved. The prophecy speaks of a moment of separation, when the true children of Mary will be distinguished from those who only play at religion. It will be a time of great trials when faith will be tested to the extreme, when many will fall away, when persecutions will appear even within the Church itself. But those who are truly consecrated to the Immaculate Heart will remain firm, strengthened by a supernatural grace. The number of those who will endure is small. The prophecy is clear about this. Not because heaven wants few to be saved, but because few are willing to pay the price of true surrender. Most people prefer the comfort of superficial religion, half-hearted devotions, and consecrations without real commitment. But when the storm arrives, this facade of religiosity will prove useless. Mary appeared to the world not to frighten, but to prepare. Each appearance was an intensive course in spiritual survival, a masterclass in heavenly protection. She taught exactly what to do, how to prepare, and what attitudes to adopt. She left nothing to chance, but also made it clear that the choice is ours, and she cannot force anyone to accept her protection. The time to choose is running out. The prophecy has a fixed date, and that date approaches like a high-speed train. You can feel the urgency in the air, sensing that something great and terrible is coming. Your soul does not lie. It recognizes the signs of the times because it remembers ancient promises. Some people will not endure what is coming, and they have no idea. You look around and see people living as if nothing will happen, as if life will continue just the same forever. They do not feel what you feel. They do not perceive the change in the spiritual atmosphere or recognize the signs shouting around us, but you feel them, and that is why you are here. Your soul has been called to be among those who will be spared from what no human should face alone. Stop now and feel your heart. It's beating differently, isn't it? That is your soul's recognition. Write in the comments the first word of faith that comes to your mind. Don't think, just feel and write. That word is no coincidence, it is your soul speaking. The harsh truth is that most people have no idea what true spiritual protection means. They confuse religiosity with spirituality, devotion with fanaticism, faith with superstition. They think that praying a Hail Mary occasionally, or wearing a scapular around their neck automatically places them under Mary's protection. This is a fatal mistake that will cost dearly when reality knocks on the door. Mary is not your indulgent grandmother who pats anyone on the head. She is the Queen of Heaven, the most powerful woman who has ever existed, the one who has authority over legions of angels and demons. Her protection is not child's play, it is a spiritual fortress built with the blood, sweat, and tears of those who truly surrendered to her without reservation. Do you want to know why only a small percentage will be truly protected? Because true consecration to the Virgin Mary demands dying to oneself, giving up your plans, desires, and will, becoming literally her property, a slave of love to her immaculate heart. Most people want protection, but do not want to pay the price. They want the result, but not the process. The difference between the protected and the abandoned will not be luck or accident. It will be the difference between those who took heavenly calls seriously and those who played at religion, between those who made a true consecration and those who only repeated pretty words, between those who radically changed their lives and those who kept living as they always had, just with a religious veneer. When the moment comes, you will see desperate people looking for protection where none exists. You will see others trying to do overnight what should have been done over years. You will see the despair of those who ignored all the warnings, all the calls, all the opportunities they had to prepare properly. But you don't have to be among them. You can be different. You can be part of the small group of the truly protected. You can experience the supernatural peace of those completely safe in the arms of the Heavenly Mother. The choice is yours, but the time for making it is not infinite. What you don't know about the Rosary could cost you your eternal protection. Everyone thinks they know this prayer. Everyone thinks they know how to pray the Rosary. But the truth is that 99% of people do it incorrectly. It's not their fault. No one ever taught them properly the real power contained in these sacred beads. Mary did not request the Rosary by chance. It was not a heavenly whim, it was spiritual military strategy. It was the most powerful weapon she could give her children for the difficult times that were coming. You are not here by accident. Among millions of videos, something divine brought you to this message. Share in the comments a word of faith that represents your connection with the sacred at this moment. Together, we will create a collective prayer that will rise straight to heaven. Every properly prayed Hail Mary is like a direct shot to the heart of darkness. Every Our Father is like a shield raised around you. Every meditated mystery builds a fortress in the spiritual dimension. But here is the secret no one tells you. It is not just saying the words or sliding the beads through your fingers. It is entering such a deep state of prayer that your soul literally transports to be with Jesus and Mary. When Saint Bernadette prayed the Rosary, she entered ecstasy. When the shepherd children of Fatima prayed, time stopped around them. When Padre Pio held his Rosary, miracles happened instantly. This was no coincidence. It was the correct way to access the supernatural power hidden in this seemingly simple prayer. The Rosary Mary taught is not passive meditation, it is active spiritual warfare. Each Hail Mary is like an atomic bomb launched against the forces of darkness. Each complete Rosary is like an entire army of angels positioning themselves for your protection. This is why demons flee desperately when someone prays the Rosary correctly. They know that a power is being invoked that they cannot resist, but you need to understand that there is a specific way of praying that fully activates this protection. It is not just about memorizing words or following the traditional sequence. It is about entering such an intense state of communion with Mary that she literally places you under her mantle during the prayer. It is reaching a level of spiritual concentration where every word comes straight from the heart, where each mystery is lived as if you were truly present. The saints knew this secret, which is why they spent hours praying the Rosary without tiring. Their rosaries wore out from constant use. They always carried their sacred beads wherever they went. They understood it was more than just a prayer, it was their direct line to heaven, their guarantee of protection, their most powerful weapon against any kind of evil. The approaching date will require this maximum protection. Half-hearted devotion, automatic prayer, or a Rosary prayed out of obligation will not be enough. The full power of this spiritual weapon is necessary, activated by true devotion and a correct technique known by few. Mary left a sign to identify her true children in these last times. It is a spiritual mark invisible to human eyes, but completely visible in the spiritual realm. You may not see it, but all the forces of darkness instantly recognize those who carry this mark and flee in desperation. Every guardian angel immediately knows whom to serve with absolute priority. It is like a heavenly identification that guarantees VIP protection in the spiritual kingdom. If you have come this far, it was no accident. Your soul has recognized something sacred in these words. Leave in the comments a word of faith that represents what your heart is feeling right now. That word will join a powerful spiritual chain connecting all of us. This mark is not earned by simply attending church on Sundays, nor is it gained by doing charity occasionally or wearing medals around your neck. It is much deeper and more radical. It results from a total surrender to the Virgin Mary, to the point where your very identity merges with her will. It is when you stop existing as an independent individual and begin to live as an extension of her Immaculate Heart. Saint Louis Delaware Montfort called this loving slavery, but the word slavery frightens modern people who do not understand that it is a slavery that fully frees you. When you become totally the property of Mary, you automatically become a beloved child of Jesus. When you completely surrender your own will, you gain access to God's perfect will for your life. Those who carry this mark live differently. They do not fear because they know they are protected by the most powerful force in the universe. They do not despair amid crises because they trust blindly in Mary's maternal providence. They are not carried away by waves of panic and confusion dominating the world because they are anchored in the supernatural peace of the Immaculate Heart. You can recognize these people by their fruits. They have a peace that defies human logic. They face storms with a serenity that annoys the anxious. They make difficult decisions with wisdom that seems beyond their education. It is because they are no longer living, Mary lives in them. It is heavenly wisdom guiding them. It is divine protection supporting them. But here is the part that may shock you. Not everyone who claims devotion to Mary has this mark. In fact, most do not. Most have only sentimental devotion, cultural religion, or superficial admiration. The true mark appears only when you completely die to yourself and rise as the absolute property of the Queen of Heaven. The process to receive this mark is painful because it demands the death of ego, pride, and self-will. That is why few make it. Most give up halfway when they realize they must give up everything, including the illusion of control over their own life. But those who persist, who surrender fully, receive a protection no force in the universe can break. The approaching date will reveal who has this mark and who does not. It will be the great separation between true children and distant admirers. Do you want to be among the marked or the abandoned? What will happen to those who do not prepare properly? It is something no human mind can fully imagine. I am not speaking only of physical punishments, but of spiritual abandonment so deep that the soul becomes literally and completely an orphan in the universe, without heavenly protection, without maternal intercession, without the slightest chance of help when the spiritual storms begin to devastate humanity. It is a cosmic loneliness that will make any earthly suffering seem like a child's play. Stop now and feel your heart. It is beating differently, isn't it? That is the recognition of your soul. Write in the comments the first word of faith that comes to your mind. Do not think, just feel and write. That word is no coincidence, it is your soul speaking. Mary does not abandon anyone out of cruelty, but out of respect for free will. She has offered her protection through centuries of apparitions, signs, and urgent calls, multiplying opportunities, easing paths, and simplifying the requirements to the utmost. But there will come a moment when the doors will close forever, when mercy will give way to justice, when warnings turn into inevitable reality. You need to understand that we are speaking of eternal consequences. This is not about going through a few difficult years and then everything returning to normal. It is about determining where your soul will spend eternity. What will be your destiny after this life ends? Mary's protection is not only for temporal problems. It primarily guarantees eternal salvation, a secure entry into the kingdom of heaven. Souls that have systematically rejected the heavenly calls, who played at religion, who treated sacred things with disdain or indifference, will discover too late what they lost. They will see the protection they could have had, the peace they could have experienced, the eternal security they might have secured. But there will be no more time for change. No more opportunities for genuine repentance. The greatest pain will not even be the lack of divine protection. It will be the full awareness that they had every chance and wasted each one. It will be knowing that Mary extended her hand thousands of times, and they always found excuses not to grasp it. It will be realizing they consciously chose to stay outside the ark when the flood was clearly announced. The remorse for those moments will be worse than any physical torture. It will be the endless pain of a chance lost forever, of protection rejected, of a maternal love scorned. It will be shedding eternal tears for a choice that can no longer be changed, for a decision that sealed their destiny forever. But you do not have to be among them. You still have time, still have the opportunity, and can still make the choice that will determine your eternal destiny. The door is still open. The call still echoes in your heart. Mary's hand is still extended toward you. But for how much longer? No one knows. What we do know is that this time is not infinite. Your decision today could mean the difference between eternal protection and final abandonment, between supernatural peace and cosmic despair, between being a beloved child of Mary and a spiritual orphan in the universe. The choice is yours, but the consequences are eternal. There is a specific prayer that Mary secretly taught to the visionaries of Fatima. Words so powerful they can completely change the destiny of a soul in seconds. It is not in the official books, not disclosed by the Church, but it reached some chosen individuals through private revelations and oral transmission among true mystics. This prayer has the power to instantly open the doors of the Immaculate Heart and guarantee immediate and lasting protection. You are not here by accident. Among millions of videos, something divine has brought you to this message. Share in the comments a word of faith that represents your connection with the sacred at this moment. Together, we will create a collective prayer that will rise straight to heaven. What makes this prayer different from all others is not just the words, but the state of mind required to pronounce it properly. It must come from a truly repentant heart, a soul genuinely desperate for protection, a mind fully convinced of the urgent need for radical life change. It does not work when prayed mechanically. It has no power when said without complete conviction. When the shepherd children of Fatima received this prayer directly from Our Lady, they felt an instant transformation. It was as if their souls were wrapped in supernatural light, as if an invisible mantle descended upon them, as if a spiritual fortress rose around them. From that moment on, nothing could truly harm them. Neither persecutions, threats, nor physical suffering could remove the deep peace that settled in their hearts. This prayer acts as a master key that opens all the doors of Mary's heart. It is like pronouncing the secret password that grants VIP access to heavenly protection. But here is the most important secret. It cannot be said lightly. It cannot be treated as just another magical formula. It must be spoken with full awareness that you are making an eternal pact, an irrevocable commitment, a surrender with no turning back. The strength of this prayer is so great that a single correct utterance is enough for a lifetime. There is no need to repeat it endlessly or do endless novenas. Once you have truly surrendered through these sacred words, the protection is activated automatically and remains active as long as you keep the commitment made. But beware, this is not a game. When you say this prayer with total sincerity, your life changes completely. You will no longer be the same person. You will no longer have the freedom to make choices that go against God's will. You will no longer live as if you were your own master. You literally become the property of Mary, and she will guide every aspect of your existence. Many desire protection, but few want transformation. They want the benefits, but not the responsibilities. They seek spiritual security, but refuse to give up personal autonomy. This is why few can say this prayer correctly, because deep down, they know they are not ready for the full consequences. The upcoming date will make this prayer even more powerful and even more necessary. It will be like a lifeline thrown to those drowning in a sea of tribulations. But only those with enough spiritual strength, who have prepared properly, and who have cultivated a faith capable of recognizing salvation will manage to grasp it. The truth about what will truly happen on August 20th is so profound that most people could not process it if they knew in advance. It is not just a symbolic date. It is not merely another special day on the liturgical calendar. It is the exact moment when heaven will carry out a plan prepared over centuries, when Mary's infinite mercy will manifest in the most extraordinary way humanity has ever witnessed. If you have come this far, it was no accident. Your soul has recognized something sacred in these words. Leave a word of faith in the comments that represents what your heart is feeling right now. That word will become part of a powerful spiritual chain connecting all of us. On that day, something will fundamentally change in the spiritual dimension. A barrier that existed between heaven and earth will become more permeable for those truly consecrated to the Immaculate Heart. It will be as if Mary spreads her mantle so wide that it completely covers her true children, creating a supernatural zone of protection that no force of darkness can penetrate. You may feel this physically when it happens. It will not be just an abstract spiritual experience. It will be so real that your body will recognize the change. An indescribable peace will flood your being. An absolute certainty of protection will settle in your heart. A lasting sensation of complete safety in the arms of the Heavenly Mother will become part of your life. But here is what will definitively separate the protected from the abandoned. Only those who are already fully prepared will experience this transformation. There will be no time for last-minute preparation or instant conversion. The preparation must have taken place over months or years of sincere devotion, gradual surrender, and constant purification of the soul. Those who are not prepared will experience that day like any other. They will notice nothing special, feel no change. For them, it will be just another ordinary August 20th. But for the true consecrated, it will be the day their lives completely change, when heavenly protection becomes a tangible, permanent reality. The difference will be visible in the days that follow. The protected will face any situation with supernatural serenity. They will make difficult decisions with wisdom from above. They will find solutions where others see only problems. This is because they will no longer navigate life alone. They will have Mary's direct guidance in every choice, every challenge, every moment. This transformation will not be temporary. Once you experience the full protection of the Immaculate Heart, it becomes a permanent part of your spiritual reality. It is like being born again, but this time directly into the arms of the Heavenly Mother. It is like receiving a new identity, a new nature, a new way of existing in the world. The number of those who will experience this transformation is small because few are willing to pay the price of proper preparation. But for those who have paid it, who have prepared, who have waited with faith and perseverance, August 20th will mark the beginning of a completely new life, totally protected and forever secure. What you do in the coming days may determine whether you will be among the small group of the truly protected or left out of the greatest spiritual opportunity in human history. This is no exaggeration. We are literally living the final moments before an unprecedented heavenly intervention. Mary did not wait centuries to act with such intensity just to put on a show. She knows exactly what is coming and is making her final move to save as many souls as possible. Stop now and feel your heart. It is beating differently, isn't it? That is your soul's recognition. Write in the comments the first word of faith that comes to your mind. Don't think, just feel and write. That word is no coincidence. It is your soul speaking. You have a radical choice to make now. Either you fully embrace this opportunity and prepare with all possible urgency, or you continue living as if nothing is happening and accept the consequences of that choice. There is no middle ground, no neutral zone. Neutrality in this moment is automatically a choice for the wrong side. True preparation is not complicated, but it demands total and radical commitment. It begins with a sincere confession of all sins, a complete cleansing of the soul with nothing concealed. Then make a total and definitive consecration to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, spoken with every ounce of sincerity you can offer. After that, commit each day to praying the full Rosary with genuine devotion, not merely reciting the words, but entering deeply into the mysteries with attention and love. Most importantly, your life must change in a profound way. Beautiful prayers mean nothing if you continue to live in sin. You cannot dedicate yourself to Mary while placing other priorities above God. The Rosary will not bear fruit if you maintain habits that offend the Immaculate Heart. Preparation requires complete transformation, not a cosmetic reform. You have only days to make this preparation, not weeks or months, but days. Each day that passes without a radical decision is a day lost forever. Each night you sleep without true consecration is a night wasted. Each morning that begins without a deep change of life brings you closer to the final deadline. The time for hesitation has ended. The time for excuses is past. The era of "I will do it later" is over. Now is truly now or never. Mary's protection will not be offered again, with the same intensity or urgency. This is a unique, unrepeatable, and final opportunity. Deep down you sense it is not a coincidence that you have arrived here, not chance, not luck, but a divine call, a heavenly intervention. This is the last invitation Mary is giving you to be counted among the protected. Your decision at this moment will determine where you stand on August 20th, whether among those who experience extraordinary protection, or among those who watch from afar what they could have received. The choice is yours, but the time to choose is rapidly disappearing. Now you have everything you needed to know. You have received what most never access. You have uncovered guidance guarded for generations. You have encountered truths that can shape your eternal destiny. The question is no longer whether you possess enough knowledge, you do. The question is whether you have the courage to act. You are not here by accident. Among countless messages, something from above drew you to these words. Share in the comments a word of faith that expresses your connection with the sacred at this moment. Together we will form a collective prayer that rises straight to heaven. This knowledge carries great responsibility. You can no longer claim ignorance or say it was never explained. You have received a rare revelation. Now you must decide what to do with it. The difference between those who are saved and those who are lost will not be intelligence, wealth, or status. It will be the willingness to fully accept the protection Mary offers. Will you have the humility to acknowledge your urgent need for this maternal care? Will you have the courage to surrender control of your life and place it entirely in her hands? Many who hear this will hesitate, seek more time, ask for opinions, or look for confirmations elsewhere. Meanwhile, time moves forward without pause. August 20th will arrive, whether people are ready or not. Mary's protection will manifest for those prepared, regardless of how many remain outside. You can be different. You can be among the few who act immediately when a true call reaches them. You can belong to the small number who do not need endless confirmations to recognize truth when it stands before them. You can trust your spiritual intuition enough to act decisively when your soul recognizes an authentic summons. What you decide today will echo into eternity, not only your own, but also the eternity of those whom your choice may influence. If you truly consecrate yourself and receive Mary's protection, you become a channel of that protection for others. If you reject or delay this grace, the consequences will touch not only your life, but the lives of those around you. Mary is waiting for your answer. She has extended her hand, opened her heart, and offered a protection beyond all comparison. Now it rests with you, to accept or refuse, to grasp the offered hand or let it fall, to come under the mantle or remain outside. Your soul already knows the right answer. Your heart has already recognized the truth of these words. Your inner discernment has already confirmed that it is no accident you are here. Only your will remains, to follow what your soul already knows. August 20th will come for all, but it will hold special grace only for those who prepared. It will shelter only those who truly sought it and transform the lives of those brave enough to surrender completely to Mary. Will you be among them?